there's a moment. A quiet moment when a man looks at a woman and something shifts inside him. He doesn't know exactly what it is. But suddenly, he sits up a little straighter. He chooses his words more carefully. He treats her differently. Not because she demanded it. Not because she raised her voice or made threats. But because something about her presence told him, this woman knows her worth. And here's what I want you to understand today, that moment. It's not magic, it's not luck. And it has nothing to do with being beautiful or young or perfect. It's about how you carry yourself. It's about habits. Small, quiet habits that most women were never taught. But before I share these habits with you, I want us to pause for a moment. Because I think it's important that we start with something deeper. Why does this even matter? Why should you care about earning respect from men? And let me be clear about something right from the beginning. This is not about performing for anyone. This is not about changing who you are so that a man will finally approve of you. That's not what we're doing here. This matters because respect is the foundation of peace. Think about it. When someone respects you, they don't waste your time. They don't play games with your heart. They don't speak to you carelessly or treat you like an option. Respect creates safety. And safety allows you to relax. It allows you to be soft. It allows you to actually enjoy your relationships instead of constantly fighting to be seen, constantly fighting to be valued, constantly wondering if you're enough. For women in our season of life, women who are 30, 40, 50 years old, women who have lived and loved, and maybe been hurt along the way, this becomes even more important. Because we've already learned, haven't we? We've learned that love without respect is exhausting. We've learned that relationships where we have to beg to be valued slowly drain the light right out of us. And many of us are done. We're done proving ourselves. We're done shrinking. We're done accepting less than we deserve just to keep the peace or to not be alone. So this matters because you deserve relationships that feel good. You deserve a life where the people around you, especially the men around you, treat you with dignity. Not because you demanded it in anger, but because something about you simply commands it. That's why we're having this conversation today. So here's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to walk you through 5 habits. 5 simple, practical habits that create respect. The kind of respect that happens almost instantly. The kind that shifts how people treat you from the very first interaction. These are not complicated. You don't need a degree. You don't need to be a certain size or have a certain income or look a certain way. These are habits of the heart and the mind that any woman can begin practicing today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand not just what these habits are, but why they work. You'll see how small shifts in the way you carry yourself can completely change the way others experience you. More importantly, you'll have practical steps, things you can actually do starting right now to become a woman who naturally commands respect wherever she goes. So stay with me, because this might be exactly what you needed to hear today. Let me start with something that seems so simple, but it's actually quite rare. The first habit is this: you honor your own word. What does that mean? It means when you say something, you mean it. When you set a boundary, you keep it. When you make a promise to yourself, you follow through. Now let me explain why this matters so deeply. Men, whether they realize it or not, are always paying attention to how you treat your own words. They're watching, they're listening. They're testing, sometimes without even knowing they're testing. If you say, "I won't tolerate disrespect," but then you stay when you're disrespected, they learn something about you. If you say, "I need a man who's honest," but then you accept lies over and over again, they learn something about you. If you say, "I'm going to focus on myself this year," but then you abandon your goals the moment a new man gives you attention, they learn something about you. And what do they learn? They learn that your words don't mean much. And when your words don't mean much to you, why would they mean much to anyone else? This is not about being harsh. This is not about being rigid or cold or impossible to please. This is about self-trust. When you honor your own word, you're telling yourself, I can be counted on. I am reliable. What I say matters. And when you trust yourself, something beautiful happens. Others begin to trust you too. Others begin to take you seriously. Others begin to respect you almost automatically. Let me give you an example. I want you to imagine a woman named Grace. Grace is 40, 3 years old. She's been divorced for about 4 years now, and she recently started dating again. She meets a man online. He seems charming. He seems interesting. They have a lovely first date. But then something happens. He cancels their second date at the last minute. No real explanation, just something vague about being busy. Grace is disappointed, but she tells herself, okay, things happen. I'll give him another chance. They reschedule. He cancels again. Same vague excuse. Now, the old Grace might have kept trying. She might have convinced herself that he was just really busy. She might have made excuses for him. She might have bent herself into a pretzel, trying to be understanding and flexible and easygoing. But the new Grace, the Grace who has learned to honor her own word, she simply says to him very calmly, very kindly, I understand life gets busy. But consistent plans are important to me. I hope things settle down. I think I'll step back for now. And then she does exactly that. She steps back. She doesn't send angry texts. She doesn't ask for explanations. She doesn't try to change his mind. She simply keeps her word to herself. And here's what's interesting. A week later, that same man reaches out. His tone is different now. He apologizes sincerely. He asks if he can try again, and this time he follows through. Did Grace demand respect? No, she didn't need to. She simply showed him through her actions that her word means something. That's the power of this habit. So what can you do today? First, start paying attention to the promises you make to yourself. Small ones, big ones, all of them. When you say you're going to wake up early and go for a walk, do you do it? When you say you're done responding to that person who treats you poorly, do you stop responding? When you say you're going to prioritize your health, your peace, your growth, do you actually follow through? Begin building trust with yourself, because that internal trust is the foundation of everything. Second, practice making smaller commitments and keeping them. Don't say, I'm going to completely transform my life this week. That's too big. Say, today, I'm going to drink 8 glasses of water, and then do it. This sounds so simple, but it rewires something inside you. It teaches your brain and your heart that you are a woman who does what she says she's going to do. Third, when you set a boundary with someone else, write it down. Write down exactly what you said, what you meant, and what you will do if that boundary is crossed. Then, when the moment comes, you don't have to think. You don't have to wonder. You just follow through on what you already decided. That's habit number 1. Honor your own word, and watch how quickly the world begins to honor it too. The second habit is one that so many women struggle with, and I include myself in this. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. Here it is, you don't over-explain yourself. Let me describe what over-explaining looks like. Someone asked you why you can't come to an event, and instead of simply saying, I won't be able to make it, but thank you for inviting me, you launch into a detailed story. You explain that your daughter has a recital, and your mother isn't feeling well, and you've been so tired lately because work has been demanding, and you really wish you could come, you really do, and you hope they're not upset, and maybe next time, and please don't be offended, and you're so sorry, and you see what happened there. A simple no became an apology. An explanation became a defense. A decision became a request for permission. And here's why this matters. When you over-explain, you send a message. You might not mean to send it, but you send it anyway. The message is, I don't think my decision is valid on its own. I need you to approve it. I need you to agree with me. I need you to tell me it's okay for me to do what I already know I need to do. And when you constantly seek that approval, something shifts in how people see you. They start to believe that your no is negotiable. They start to believe that if they push a little harder, you'll change your mind. They start to believe that you need their permission to live your own life. That's not respect, that's dependency. And it slowly chips away at your power. Now, let me be very clear about something. Explaining yourself is not always bad. Sometimes it's kind. Sometimes it's appropriate. Sometimes it's part of maintaining a healthy relationship with communication and openness. What I'm talking about is the habit of over-explaining. The compulsive need to justify every single decision. The fear that if you just say no, people will be angry or won't understand or won't like you. A woman who commands respect understands that her reasons are valid even when she doesn't share them. Let me give you a picture of this. Think about the most composed woman you know. Maybe she's someone in your family. Maybe she's a colleague. Maybe she's someone you admire from a distance. Now imagine asking her something simple. Can you help me move on Saturday? What does she say? She probably doesn't panic. She probably doesn't start listing every single thing she has to do that day. She probably just says, very warmly but very clearly, I won't be able to help this Saturday, but I hope it goes smoothly for you. That's it. No long story. No guilt, no apology to her. And how do you feel about her? You probably respect her. You probably don't think she's rude or cold. You probably just think she knows what she can and can't do. That's the energy we're talking about. So how do you practice this? First, before you respond to any request, give yourself a moment. A breath, a pause. Don't answer immediately out of obligation or anxiety. Just take a moment to check in with yourself and decide what you actually want to say. Second, practice short responses. When you need to decline something, try saying just 1 or 2 sentences. I can't make it, but thank you for thinking of me. That doesn't work for me, but I appreciate you asking. I'm not available for that, but I hope you find what you need. And then stop talking. That last part is important. Stop talking. The urge to fill the silence is strong. The urge to explain more, to soften more, to apologize more will be there. But resist it. Let your answer be complete. Third, remember this truth. You do not need anyone's approval to take care of yourself. I want you to say that out loud right now if you can. I do not need anyone's approval to take care of myself. Your time is valuable. Your energy is sacred. Your decisions are yours to make. When you stop over-explaining, you stop giving away your power. You stop inviting debate about things that are not up for debate. And men notice this immediately. When a woman answers clearly and calmly without shrinking, without apologizing, without seeking validation, something in them shifts. They think this woman is secure. This woman knows who she is. This woman doesn't need me to tell her she's allowed to be who she is. And that's exactly the kind of woman who gets respect. This one is going to land differently for some of you, because many of us were raised to care deeply about what others think. The third habit is this: you protect your peace before you protect your image. What does that mean in practice? It means that when you have to choose between looking good and feeling good, you choose feeling good. It means that you are willing to be misunderstood. You are willing to disappoint people. You are willing to walk away from situations that look fine on the outside, but feel terrible on the inside. Now, let me tell you why this creates respect. In a world where most people are performing, where most people are trying so hard to look perfect and happy and unbothered, the woman who genuinely prioritizes her inner state stands out. She's not chasing applause. She's not staying in a relationship just because it looks good on paper. She's not accepting treatment that hurts her just to avoid conflict. She has a different priority. And that priority is her peace. Here's a hard truth that took me years to learn. Some people will only respect you when they see that you respect yourself. And you cannot fake that. You cannot say, "I respect myself," while accepting chaos. You cannot claim peace while constantly pouring yourself into situations that drain you. Your life speaks louder than your words. Let me share a story with you. There's a woman I'll call Miriam. Miriam is 51 years old. She's been married for 26 years. From the outside, her marriage looks beautiful. Nice house, successful husband, grown children. She's the kind of woman other people envy. But inside that marriage, Miriam has been slowly losing herself. Her husband dismisses her opinions. He makes her feel small in front of others. He's not cruel in an obvious way, but he's careless. Careless with her feelings. Careless with her needs. Careless with her heart. For years, Miriam stayed. She stayed because of what people would think. She stayed because of her reputation. She stayed because she was afraid of being a divorced woman at her age. She protected her image. She sacrificed her peace. And then one day, something shifted. Miriam started therapy. She started reading. She started having honest conversations with herself. And she realized something painful, but necessary. She had spent decades earning everyone's approval except her own. So Miriam began to change. She started speaking up at home. She started setting boundaries. And when her husband refused to change, she made a decision that shocked everyone. She left. Now, what happened next is important. Some people judged her. Some people gossiped. Some people couldn't understand why she would leave a marriage that seemed fine. But other people, especially other women, looked at Miriam with new eyes. They saw her courage. They saw her self-respect. They saw a woman who chose herself even when it was hard. And her husband, the one who had dismissed her for years, he didn't suddenly become a better man, but he did say something interesting to a mutual friend. He said, "I never realized how serious she was. I thought she would always stay." That's it right there. When you protect your peace, you show people that you're serious. You show them that your well-being is not negotiable. You show them that you are willing to lose things, even big things, to keep your dignity. And that kind of woman, she commands respect. Not because she's loud, not because she's aggressive, but because she has a line that cannot be crossed. So what can you practice? First, start noticing when you're prioritizing image over peace. Ask yourself, am I saying yes to this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what people will think if I say no? Am I staying in this situation because it's good for me, or because leaving would be embarrassing? Second, give yourself permission to disappoint people. I know that sounds hard. I know it goes against everything you might have been taught. But sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is let someone else be uncomfortable. Third, make peace a non-negotiable. Treat your inner peace like oxygen. You need it. It's not a luxury. It's not something you'll get to one day when everything is perfect. It's something you protect now, firstly and unapologetically. When you do this, something beautiful happens. You stop attracting people who want to disturb you. You stop tolerating treatment that doesn't match your worth. And the people who do remain in your life, they treat you better because they know what you value. Let's talk about how you communicate. The fourth habit is this: you speak with intention, not reaction. What's the difference? Reactive speaking is when your emotions take over and your words come out before you've thought about them. Someone says something that hurts you and you immediately fire back. Someone disappoints you and you send a long, emotional message at 2 a.m. Someone pushes a button and you explode. We've all been there. I'm not judging. Emotions are powerful and sometimes they overwhelm us. But here's what happens when you speak reactively. You often say things you don't mean. Or you say things you do mean, but in a way that makes the other person defensive instead of receptive. You give away your power because you've let someone else control your emotional state. And honestly, you don't look like the woman you want to be. You look frantic. You look unstable. You look like someone who can be easily shaken. That's not who you are. You are a woman of depth, a woman of grace, a woman of quiet power. And quiet power speaks with intention. What does intentional speaking look like? It means you pause before you respond. Even if that pause is uncomfortable. Even if the other person is staring at you waiting for an answer. It means you choose your words carefully, not to manipulate, but to communicate clearly and effectively. It means you stay calm even when others are not calm. Not because you're pretending, but because you've learned that your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Let me explain why this creates instant respect. When you're in a room with someone who reacts to everything, how do you feel? Probably a little tense, a little uncertain, like you have to walk on eggshells. But when you're with someone who responds thoughtfully, who doesn't take the bait, who stays grounded even in conflict, how do you feel? Probably safer, probably more trusting, probably more respectful. That's because composure signals maturity. It signals self-control. It signals that you are a woman who is in charge of herself. And let me tell you something about men specifically. Men pay attention to how you handle stress. They pay attention to how you handle disagreements. They pay attention to how you speak when things are hard. A woman who stays calm when others lose their minds is incredibly attractive. Not just physically attractive, but attractively powerful. She's a safe place. She's a steady presence. She's someone they can trust. And yes, she commands respect. Now, I want to make something clear. Speaking with intention does not mean being passive. It does not mean being silent. It does not mean letting people walk all over you. You can be calm and clear at the same time. You can be gentle and firm at the same time. You can set a boundary without screaming it. In fact, boundaries delivered calmly are often more powerful than boundaries delivered in anger. When you're shouting, the other person focuses on your volume. When you're calm, they have no choice but to focus on your words. Let me give you a small example. Imagine two scenarios. In the first one, a woman discovers that her partner has made a financial decision without consulting her. She's upset. She storms into the room. She raises her voice. She lists every mistake he's ever made. She cries. She demands. How does he respond? Probably defensively. Probably by shutting down. Probably by becoming angry himself. Now imagine the second scenario. Same situation, same woman, same discovery, same hurt. But this time she takes a breath. She takes an hour. She takes whatever time she needs to gather herself. Then she sits down with him and says calmly, I need to talk to you about something important. I discovered that you made this financial decision without discussing it with me first. I want you to understand that this hurt me. Not because of the money, but because I felt excluded from something that affects us both. I need to know that we're a team. I need to know that you'll involve me in big decisions. Can you understand that? Same message, completely different delivery. Which woman gets heard? Which woman gets taken seriously? Which woman is treated with more respect moving forward? The second one, every time. So how do you develop this habit? First, create space between stimulus and response. This is an old idea, but it's powerful. When something happens that triggers you, don't respond immediately. Say something like, I need a moment to think about this, or let's talk about this later when I've had time to process. Then actually take that time. Second, practice saying less. Most of us talk too much when we're upset. We repeat ourselves. We over-explain, which we already talked about. We pile on. Instead, try making your point once, clearly, and then stopping. Third, lower your voice when you feel like raising it. This sounds counterintuitive, but it works. When you feel the urge to yell, deliberately speak softer and slower. It forces you to calm down, and it actually makes people listen more closely. Fourth, ask yourself before you speak, what outcome do I want from this conversation? If your goal is to be heard and understood, choose words that lead there. If your goal is to hurt the other person because they hurt you, recognize that and decide if that's really who you want to be. Intentional speaking is a skill. It takes practice. But once you develop it, you become a different kind of woman. You become a woman who doesn't get swept away by every wave, a woman who handles herself with grace, a woman who people take seriously. That's the fourth habit. We've arrived at the fifth and final habit. And in many ways, this one ties everything together. The habit is this: you let your standards be visible through your actions. Not your words, your actions. Here's something important that I want you to really hear. Everyone talks about standards these days. Social media is full of women saying they have high standards. They make lists, they share posts, they write long captions about what they will and won't accept. And look, there's nothing wrong with knowing what you want. Clarity is beautiful. But here's what I've noticed. Talking about standards is easy. Living them is hard. And the truth is, people don't really believe what you say. They believe what you do. If you say you have high standards, but you keep accepting low effort, people see the low effort. If you say you deserve respect, but you tolerate disrespect, people see the tolerance. If you claim to be a high-value woman, but your choices tell a different story, that story is what people remember. So what does it mean to let your standards be visible through your actions? It means you live in alignment with what you say you believe. It means you turn down things that don't match your values, even when they're tempting. It means you walk away from relationships that offer less than you deserve, even when walking away is lonely. It means you make choices that honor you, even when no one is watching. This is not about being perfect. This is not about never making mistakes. It's about consistency. It's about letting your life be the evidence of your worth. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. Men begin to treat you differently, not because you told them to, but because they can see clearly, unmistakably, that you are a woman who takes herself seriously. There's a saying I love: how you do one thing is how you do everything. People watch. They notice the little things. They notice how you treat your time. They notice how you treat your commitments. They notice how you treat yourself. And from those observations, they draw conclusions about how they should treat you. Let me paint a picture for you. Think about a woman, we'll call her Santa, who is 37 years old. She's been divorced for 2 years. She's ready to date again, but this time she's decided to do things differently. In her past, Santa would accept almost any invitation. She was so afraid of being alone that she said yes to men who didn't really interest her. She tolerated behavior that made her uncomfortable. She bent herself into uncomfortable shapes just to avoid rejection. But now, Santa has different standards. She's decided that she will only date men who make consistent effort. She's decided that she will only give her time to men who respect it. She's decided that she will not settle for someone who makes her feel insecure or unseen. Now, here's the key. Santa doesn't announce these standards to the world. She doesn't post about them. She doesn't give speeches. She just lives them. When a man she matched with takes 3 days to respond to her message, she doesn't wait around, she moves on. When a man suggests meeting up at the last minute without real planning, she politely declines. When a man makes her feel like an option instead of a priority, she quietly closes that door. She doesn't need to explain. She doesn't need to lecture. Her actions speak for her. And what happens? The wrong men fade away. They sense that she's not someone they can play games with. they don't even try. But the right men, they pay attention. They step up. They sense that this is a woman of quality, and they bring their best selves forward. Santa's standards become a filter, not because she talked about them, but because she showed them. This is what I mean by letting your standards be visible through your actions. So how do you do this? First, get clear on what your standards actually are. Write them down if you need to. What will you accept? What won't you accept? What kind of treatment do you deserve? What kind of relationship are you building your life for? Second, look honestly at your current choices. Are your actions aligned with your standards? Or is there a gap between what you say you want and what you're actually accepting? Be honest with yourself. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness. Third, make one small aligned choice today. Maybe you decline an invitation that doesn't feel right. Maybe you stop texting someone who only reaches out when it's convenient for them. Maybe you spend an evening investing in yourself instead of chasing someone who hasn't earned your attention. Each aligned choice builds on the last. And over time, your life starts to reflect your values. Fourth, trust that the right people will notice. When you live according to your standards, you might lose some people. Some men will walk away. Some connections will fade. But here's the beautiful truth: those weren't your people anyway. The ones who stay, the ones who step up, the ones who treat you with respect, those are the ones worth keeping. Your standards are a gift to yourself. They're also a filter for your future. Live them. Don't just speak them. Let them be visible in every choice you make. That's the fifth habit. Now, before I wrap up, I want to speak to something that might be stirring inside you right now. Some of you might be thinking, but I've tried being soft. I've tried being kind, and people just take advantage of me. Or maybe you're thinking, if I stop over-explaining, won't people think I'm cold? Won't they stop liking me? Or perhaps, this sounds nice, but I've been the other way for so long. Can I really change now? I hear you. I really do. And I want to gently challenge some beliefs that might be holding you back. Many of us were raised with messages that weren't meant to help us. We were taught that a good woman always explains herself, that she always makes others comfortable, that she sacrifices her peace to keep the peace, that she shrinks so others can feel big. These messages came from parents, from culture, from society, from painful experiences. And maybe for a time, those strategies helped you survive. They helped you stay safe. They helped you belong. But you're not just surviving anymore. You're ready to thrive. And thriving requires a different belief system. Here's what I want you to consider. What if being respected doesn't require you to be aggressive? What if you can be soft and respected at the same time? What if your kindness is actually more powerful when it's protected by boundaries? What if your quietness isn't weakness? What if it's wisdom? What if the woman who doesn't react to everything is the woman who has the most control over her life? What if the people who leave when you raise your standards aren't losses? What if there's space? Space for better. Space for more. Space for what you actually deserve. I want you to release the old belief that says you have to earn your place in every room. You don't. You were born worthy. You were born valuable. You don't have to prove it every day. And I want you to embrace a new belief that says, the way I carry myself teaches people how to treat me. When I treat myself with respect, I attract respect. When I honor my own word, my time, my peace, my standards, others learn to honor them too. This is not about becoming someone new. This is about becoming more fully yourself. The woman you were always meant to be. The woman you've been keeping hidden because you were afraid of what would happen if you let her out. It's time to let her out. She's strong. She's graceful. She's wise. She's gentle. And she deserves to be seen. So let's bring it all together. We talked about 5 habits today. 5 habits that change how people, especially men, treat you. The first habit was honoring your own word. When you say something, you mean it. When you set a boundary, you keep it. When you make a promise to yourself, you follow through. This builds trust with yourself and with others. The second habit was not over-explaining yourself. You don't need to justify every decision. You don't need permission to take care of yourself. A simple, calm answer is enough. The third habit was protecting your peace before your image. You're willing to be misunderstood. You're willing to disappoint people. Because your inner well-being is not for sale. The fourth habit was speaking with intention, not reaction. You pause before you respond. You choose your words carefully. You stay calm even when others are not. Composure is power. And the fifth habit was letting your standards be visible through your actions, not words. Actions. Your choices tell the world who you are and what you accept. These 5 habits, practiced consistently, will transform how you experience the world and how the world experiences you. But here's what I really want you to take away from today. This isn't about performing for men. This isn't about doing tricks to get attention or approval. This is about becoming the woman you were always meant to be. A woman who trusts herself. A woman who values herself. A woman who moves through the world with quiet confidence and undeniable grace. When you become that woman, respect follows naturally. It's not something you chase. It's something you attract. And I want you to know something. It's not too late for you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many mistakes you've made. I don't care how many times you've accepted less than you deserved or shrunk yourself for someone else's comfort. That was then. This is now. You can start today, right now. With the very next choice you make. Maybe it's a small thing. Maybe it's keeping a tiny promise to yourself. Maybe it's saying no without explaining. Maybe it's choosing peace over drama. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Do it with love for yourself. Do it because you're ready for something different. Because you are. You are ready for respect. You are ready for peace. You are ready for relationships that feel like home instead of battlegrounds. And you deserve all of it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're valuable inherently, unchangeably, perfectly imperfect and worthy exactly as you are. Carry that truth with you. Let it change how you walk, how you speak, how you show up in every room. And watch how the world rises to meet you. Now, before you go, I want to ask you something. Which of these 5 habits spoke to you most deeply today? Which one felt like it was meant for you? I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which habit you're going to focus on this week. Not all 5, just one. The one that your heart knows you need. And if this video helped you in some way, if it made you think or reflect, or feel a little more hopeful about what's possible for you, I'd be so grateful if you'd give it a like and share it with another woman who might need to hear this. We rise by lifting each other. And there is a woman out there, maybe a friend, maybe a sister, maybe someone you've never met, who needs this message today. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. I share videos like this regularly, conversations about becoming your highest self, building peaceful relationships, and stepping into the queen energy you were born to carry. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. That's already an act of self-respect. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, remember, you are not too much. You are not too old. You are not too anything. You are enough. You are worthy. And the best is still ahead of you. Take care of yourself.